What takes more courage than people realize? Leaving a toxic abusive relationship. Until you've been in one, it's easy to think, well, if someone's mean to you, lays hands on you, cheats on you, then you leave. No brainer. But it's so much harder than it seems. In my case, it felt like unraveling my whole life. Admitting to people outside of my marriage what was actually happening felt like dying. As one of those gifted kids you've heard about, failure is the last thing you want to admit. Being made a fool of is the second to last. Leaving my marriage meant doing both. Change. Even change for the better. Even if given the means to escape the things that suck in your life, you'll find a way to remanufacture the same bullshit that used to drive your blood pressure up, because that's what you're used to, and the unknown is scarier than that. Deep down, most people are that horse that would run back into a burning barn, because the barn is home and there are people shouting outside. Change. To go self-employed. If you're in an industry that it's an option, it can be great, but there's nothing like the safety net of a regular wage, even if you could make more in the long run. I've done it by default, really. I was in one industry that was hit by the banking crisis and lost my job. Started doing work for a friend to make ends meet. Now I have my own small company and I have someone who works for me too. I'm by no means a millionaire, but getting to choose your own hours and holidays is great. I don't know if I'd have the courage to do it through choice. It was really hard for a few years and I've been lucky. But it's so much better than working for a company. Swimming in the open ocean. I'm an adrenaline junkie. Ride motorcycles. Jump out of planes. Thrill rides. Do rock climbing, etc. But swimming in the open ocean where there's no bottom. Unknown creatures lurking below. Not easy. Saying no and speaking against the opinion of a group. I work in care, so I spend half my week doing team meetings. Most trouble starts because people will just nod in meetings while they are actually not in agreement. Will then do the agreed job half-assed or not at all, causing stuff to fail. At the next meeting nobody will admit to half-assing the job, so you end up having the same discussion as the last meeting. Very tiring. Success. A lot of people won't embrace a risk because they are not only afraid of the negative outcome but also about the good one. And most of the times we are not aware about this fear and succumb to it out of low self-esteem and self-sabotaging behavior. Saying that you have depression, I guess. Or having depression and trying to move on. I feel like people won't actually take it seriously, in my opinion. Cause there are some cases that people would just say move on. Sometimes it's hard to explain. It's worst if you have some type of anxiety too. Like social anxiety. It's just my opinion. So y'all PLS correct me if I am wrong. Telling people about your mental health and how you're struggling with it. For months I've been thinking about telling my friends about how much I've been struggling, but I never have enough confidence to do it. Hopefully one day I will. Showing up in life as the best expression of who you are inside. Wearing what you really want to wear. Speaking how you want to. Dedicating time to your personal health and hygiene. Where I live, femininity, smelling nice, and general self-care is a polarizing subject. People either treat me like a goddess or like I must be a snob. Asking the teacher for help when you are confused. Sometimes you feel embarrassed and stupid asking for help in front of all your classmates. Or the teacher says some BS like you should have paid attention. Suicide. It's always called the easy way out or a coward's way out. But you're going against every cell in your body whose only goal is to carry on. Also the survival instinct that just wants to stay alive. I do not think suicide is cowardly or easy. I've always said suicide takes more courage than it is given credit for. It takes a huge amount of courage to plunge yourself into the unknown. I don't encourage it at all, but I have an odd respect for those that do it, and not a morbid fascination or something like that. Living alone. As people don't get it, but it sends the message that this particular individual is ready to face the challenges of life by himself, and upon failure he has the courage to face the consequences alone. Caring about yourself. There's monsters in the deep recesses of a mind, and they serve some purpose or another. Not dealing with those monsters is the same as leaving whole chunks of yourself unusable or unstable. In my case it was very difficult for me to break things off with a guy I dated for 5 years. Right when I graduated I moved in with him. We did everything together. We moved to a new state, got a house together, a dog together. My family liked him. On the outside things were great, but we both changed and grew apart in that time. It was hard to even admit to myself that I didn't love him anymore. Correcting your posture. All the tips and tricks are just small bits that will never result in anything. You have to change so much stuff and work on your body in a lot more ways than anyone realizes. To come out to your family. They have suspected it but still haven't done so, even though I have told half of my friends. I'm 18 and consider myself bisexual, even though I fear my mind might be lying to myself and I might be gay, but this label makes me feel more comfortable, so that's what we're going with. Singing in a choir, or singing in general. This may be different for other people though, such as people who are experienced and confident may not feel like it's something to take that much courage, but I know that for my school's combined winter concert, chorus, orchestra and band, the teachers made every single person sing, and while us chorus kids were expecting it weren't bothered, the band and orchestra kids who didn't sing were terrified. Apologizing without giving excuses, defending yourself, or trying to get the other person to understand your perspective. The most genuine of apologies are the hardest to make, but they restore the relationship the most. I'm sorry isn't very genuine anymore. We say sorry to apologize as much as we say it when we bump into someone. But, what I did was wrong. Will you forgive me? Those are some hard words to get out of your mouth. If you don't think they are, try it next time you've been in a fight with your making new friends. Like I won't have any friends at my new school. Don't fucking respond with "oh you'll make me friends." Stop complaining like "no I fucking won't." Okay. I'm not a fucking extrovert like you. Okay. Letting your children go. Transitioning from the early teen to the later teen years, when the kids are asserting their independence and going off on their own. As a parent with anxiety, it fucking sucks. Letting your kids go to the park alone for the first time is scary. But having your 18-year-old at a bar almost an hour away from home for the first time is just as scary. But, you have to let them go and do their thing and learn and grow. I look back on the freedom I had as a kid, and wonder where my desire to helicopter parent comes from. Not that I do, but it's my first instinct. When I was 15, my parents bought me a case of beer and dropped me off at the dock, where I met my friends and we drove a boat to an island cottage for a week. No parents, just 6 15-year-olds, and plenty of booze and cigarettes, alone on an island for a week. My 15-year-old walks home from school alone. Honestly, this sounds cringy, but for me, going on my first roller coaster, I'm a bit of a scaredy cat as it is, but when I arrived at the first theme park I'd ever seen, I almost ran away. Seeing all the roller coasters and people screaming made me extremely terrified, more so than ever before. My friends were shouting "come on, it's really fun," and yet I couldn't bring myself to do it. It did take me heaps and bounds of courage to finally do it and step into the cart, and when we set off I was truly worried and anxious. After it had finished, my heart stopped beating as fast as before because I had fun. But it did take a lot to bring myself to go onto the ride, and my friends all thought I was just being a wuss. But I did it, and now I love roller coasters, despite that sinking feeling I used to get.